Are you tired of having to burst fire to combat recoil? Does holding angle with a scout bore you? Do you want to be able to get an ace without having to reload? Then try out the Negev, the gun with the spray pattern of trying to take a piss. Single-handedly hold down a rush against an entire casual lobby. Spam your teammates during the warm-up round. Or just give your teammates tinnitus. For only $1,700, you too can have an AK-47 with 150 rounds and no recoil. Does your AK-47 have this good of a recoil pattern? Not responsible for teammates that may kick you. Movement speed not included. First, let's learn some background history on the Negev. The Negev originally made its debut back in 2013, along with CSGO's release. Being absent from the previous Counter-Strike installments, the Negev is the second ever machine gun released for Counter-Strike.
Actually, the M60 was in condition 0 deleted scenes.
Originally costing $5,700, it used to be the most expensive gun in the game. Along with its poor recoil pattern, the Negev was usually only purchased when you're about to 16-0 the enemy team and had about $16,000 saved up. But you didn't buy the Negev for its stats. You bought it for the psychological damage it did to the other team, along with the actual tinnitus damage it gave. But this all changed back in 2017, when its recoil was drastically changed and its price was slashed to only $2,000. And then a year later, the price was lowered further to its current $1,700 price tag. And after the sound update, the Negev now has the most satisfying sound of any gun in the game. Well, except for maybe... Unfortunately, the skins on the Negev are the biggest letdown of the gun. Most of the skins are very boring and uninspiring, and with the Negev only having 24 skins, there are very few skins available. Disappointingly, there's only one pink skin and not a single red tier skin. Some of these few skins include Milnir, the Dragon Lore of Negev skins, Dev Texture, I guess a lack of a skin now counts as a skin, and Anodized Navy. You didn't buy this because you think it's a cool skin, you bought it to flex. Now let's dive into the stats on the Negev. Available on both CT and T side, the Negev costs $1,700. Unfortunately, it's also the only gun that has an additional sales tax of $50 added on, because of the mandatory decoy grenade that must be purchased with it. The Negev has 93 points of rate of fire, 35 points of damage, and 1 point of portability. The Negev is basically what happens when you play an RPG game and want to max out one specific stat and leave everything else at 0. Holding an eye-watering 150 rounds per magazine, the Negev has plenty of ammo to eliminate the entire opposing team several times over without needing to reload. Because of its extreme magazine size, it's able to fire uninterrupted for 11 whole seconds. Despite appearing like a troll-by weapon, the Negev actually has some very good damage output, having the exact same time to kill as the AK-47 at any range. Now let's move on to some gameplay tactics with the Negev. The Negev's recoil pattern is the defining characteristic of the gun, where the gun becomes more accurate the longer you fire it. Even with the recoil being a literal laser beam, using the follow recoil setting is a surprising upgrade for the Negev and helps you land that first burst on target before the recoil sets in. And despite needing to wait for the recoil to set in, the Negev still has a fairly fast time to spray down an opponent, even compared to rifles. Now, on paper, rifles should be best for this. However, in actual gameplay conditions, your recoil control isn't always going to be 100% all the time like professionals. And of course, pros are never known to miss their sprays either. Unfortunately, the biggest downside to all this is the movement speed of the gun. Not only is the Negev extremely heavy, you have to walk when firing it, otherwise you will lose all accuracy, making it the absolute worst gun in the game to run and gun with. The Negev will force any seasoned player to turn into a silver again with how you're locked into a permanent crouch spray when firing. Because of this, the Negev mostly relies on catching people off guard as a surprise force buy when you're low on cash. However, it isn't as completely useless as you might think.
Is that 52,000 killed?
Yes, it is!
Costing exactly the same as a scout, it can genuinely be supplemented instead for mid-range engagements, with a much higher DPS than the scout and the ability to shoot multiple targets.
I think the Negev might be best mid.
I'll peek mid with the Negev, might as well.
Hell yeah. Hell
Oh,
yeah. Hell yeah.
Basically, rather than just getting one shot off before dying, you can get around 30.
Fuck!
And with its large magazine size, it is fairly decent at wall banging, even through Dust 2's metal doors. Enjoy its large capacity, but just don't let yourself get carried away when shooting through smokes. Great at stopping rushes, the Negev is far more effective in casual mode than Premier and competitive. But this is mostly just due to player skill level. And, all too predictably, the Negev isn't that effective on T-side due to its extremely slow movement speed. While
It's entirely possible.
to use it offensively, it's overall not worth the $1,700. You can attempt to use it post-plant. The biggest problem is that you'd have to actually get onto the site with it in the first place.
Whoops.
Sure, you can slowly clear an angle by holding shift and walking around it, and yeah, it's okay for suppressing an angle, but this can just as easily be accomplished with a $400 Molotov. However, it is hilariously effective on T-side on Office, which is comprised of only long, tight, straight hallways. The only slight issue being that everyone else in the lobby will then proceed to only buy Negevs. Now, as long as you aren't caught off guard, countering a Negev is fairly easy. Just wait for the user to run out of ammo and push them when they have to reload, or if they're firing in bursts rather than just dumping their entire magazine, simply jiggle peek them since the Negev has to warm up its recoil again in between bursts. I give the Negev a high D tier. No longer a troll by gun, the Negev does possess genuine usability for its price. With one of the fastest time to kills and very low price, the Negev can surprise enemies in certain scenarios forced by situations. But in a game ruled by insane peeker's advantage, the Negev is ultimately held back by its extremely slow movement speed, and, once again, the MP9 is still cheaper. So, that's all there is to using the Negev. Subscribe and tune in next time as I show you how to play Mirage, and comment down below which guide you'd like to see next. Oh, and remember, you don't need reload speed if you can't run out of bullets.